Emil.
War doesn't just divide countries, it divides blood. 1944. In the gray fog of Normandy, two soldiers crawl through the mud, rifles trembling in their hands. One wears the stars and stripes, the other the Iron Cross. Neither knows the other's face. Neither knows that the man lying just beyond the smoke carries his mother's name. This is the story of Emil and Jakob Schneider, two brothers born under the same roof, torn apart by distance and reunited by the cruelty of war itself. They grew up in the small German town of Hildesheim, a place of cobblestone streets, ringing church bells, and the soft smell of bread in the morning. Their father was a carpenter. Their mother sang to them while mending old uniforms left from the Great War. The family had little, but they had love. Emil, the elder, was curious and restless. He would climb the church tower just to see what lay beyond the horizon. Jakob followed him everywhere, always the brave one, always the protector. On summer nights, they'd lie in the grass beside the river and whisper about the future. Emil dreamed of seeing America, of tall buildings and electric lights. Jakob dreamed of staying home, fixing his father's shop and keeping the family together. But dreams collapse quickly when the world loses its balance. The depression came like a cold wind. Their father's business failed. Bread grew thinner, and laughter faded from their house. In 1932, Emil sold his grandfather's pocket watch to buy a one-way ticket across the Atlantic. He promised Jacob he'd come back rich. He promised to send for him when things got better. They hugged at the train station, both pretending not to cry. Jakob waved until the smoke swallowed the train. Chicago, 1935. Steel mills, noise, and strangers. Emil worked 12 hours a day for a handful of dollars, sleeping in a shared room with 6 other men. But he sent money home every month. His letters carried hope, and Jakob's replies carried love. At first, their letters were filled with jokes and childhood memories, but slowly, the tone changed. Jakob began writing about new parades, new flags, and new speeches echoing across Germany. He told Emil that their country was rising again, proud and strong after humiliation. He believed it. Everyone around him did. Emil felt a chill he couldn't explain. From his boarding house window, he'd stare at the night sky and whisper, "Jakob, don't lose yourself." Months turned to years, then silence. The letters stopped. In 1939, the headline screamed, "Poland invaded. The world was at war again." Emil sat at his workbench, newspaper trembling in his hands. He thought of Jakob's last words, "for the fatherland." He prayed it didn't mean what he feared. When America entered the war, Emil enlisted. He didn't do it for revenge. He did it to stop the madness that had consumed his home. Training was brutal. Every bullet fired felt like it might one day travel towards someone he once knew. He carried one thing through every march, every drill, a photograph. 2 boys sitting beside a river, laughing at nothing at all. Across the ocean, Jakob marched under a different flag. He was 23, stationed in France with the Wehrmacht. He told himself he was defending his homeland, protecting his people, but deep down, doubt followed him like a shadow. He wrote in a small diary every night, though he knew no one would ever read it. One line appeared again and again. "If Emil still lives, may he forgive me for the uniform I wear." June 1944. The sky above Normandy burned. Thunder that wasn't thunder. The sea filled with ships, the air with parachutes. Emil, now a sergeant in the U.S. 4th Infantry Division, felt the landing craft shake beneath his boots. He closed his eyes and whispered, "Jakob, if you can hear me, stay away from the coast." The ramp dropped. The world exploded. Hours blurred into days. Town after town fell, each one a graveyard of faces neither side could remember. Rain mixed with smoke, and the ground drank everything. Blood, tears, promises. By mid-July, Emil's unit reached the outskirts of St. Lo. Their mission was simple: clear the village. But nothing was simple anymore. Across the valley, Jakob's company was ordered to defend it at all costs. He'd been fighting without rest for weeks, eating cold rations, sleeping in ditches. His hands shook when he loaded his rifle. That night, as the bombardment began, Jakob found a photo tucked inside his pocket. Two boys by a river. He had carried it since he was 16. He looked at it and whispered, "Maybe you're here, Emil. Maybe you'll see the sunrise for both of us dawn." The fog was thick enough to hide a man's soul. Emil's squad moved house to house, grenades and gunfire echoing through narrow streets. He shouted orders, his voice hoarse from smoke. The sound of boots, the crack of rifles, the screams, all melted into chaos. Then came silence. As Emil stepped into what was left of a stone church, he heard a sound. Faint, desperate, human. A wounded soldier. He followed the voice through broken pews and shattered glass. Beneath a fallen beam, half buried in dust, lay a German soldier, bleeding, gasping for air. Emil dropped his rifle and rushed to help. He tore open his medic pouch, pressing cloth against the wound. "Hold on," he said softly. "You'll be all right." The soldier's eyes fluttered open, pale blue, filled with fear and pain. He whispered a single word, "Bruder." Emil froze. He leaned closer, the face beneath the dirt, the scar on the chin, the familiar jawline. "Jakob." Emil's breath shattered into pieces. He pressed harder on the wound. "Stay with me. It's me, Emil. You hear me? I'm here." Jakob tried to smile, but blood filled his mouth. He reached into his pocket and pushed something into Emil's hand. The photograph. Shells exploded outside. Dust rained from the ceiling. "Medic!" Emil screamed. "Medic!" But no one came. When the smoke cleared, the place was empty. Jakob was gone, carried away by retreating soldiers, lost in the fog. Emil searched for him for 2 days. He combed every field, every tent, every stretcher he could find. Nothing. On the 3rd day, a local farmer told him about a field hospital hit by artillery. Emil ran there. Among the burned stretchers, he found a tag. Jakob Schneider. He stood in silence, the wind cutting through him like glass. Inside a scorched envelope near the body, he found a half-written letter. "Dear Emil, if fate is kind, we will meet again. If not, know that I never forgot the river or the song our mother used to hum." Emil couldn't breathe. He sank to his knees and stayed there until the night swallowed the horizon. He buried Jakob beneath an apple tree near the village edge. No ceremony, no priest, just a brother's trembling hands and the weight of a world that had lost its mind. Before leaving, he placed his own helmet on the mound. "Rest now," he whispered. "You kept your promise. You stayed." He turned and walked away. One brother carried by the earth, the other by guilt. The war dragged on for another year. Emil fought, but something inside him had already surrendered. Every battle blurred into noise. Every victory felt hollow. When peace finally came, there was no celebration in his heart. He went back to Chicago, to the same small room, the same empty bed. He never married, never spoke of the war. The photograph, folded and worn, stayed in his wallet until the end of his days. Each year, on the anniversary of D-Day, Emil visited a little church on the south side. He lit 2 candles, one for the country that gave him freedom, one for the brother who gave him everything else. He aged quietly, the world around him moving faster than he could follow. Televisions replaced radios, cities grew taller, new wars came and went. But every night he looked at the photograph and whispered, "I found you once, Jakob. In another life, maybe we'll find each other again." Time fades, flags, borders, and uniforms, but not love. The Schneider brothers remind us that wars are not fought by heroes or villains, but by sons, brothers, and fathers who once shared the same roof. Some fought for freedom, some fought for pride, but all bled the same color. And somewhere, in every war, there's an Emil searching for his Jakob, a man fighting ghosts that wear his brother's face. 2 brothers, 2 sides. One story the world should never forget, dedicated to every family divided by war